you may be starting to see some steam come from you. Alright, boys and girls. In just a split second, it crushed back in. And remember, I wasn't squeezing it with these. That was all because of the pressure that we're talking about up here on stage. Alright, so thank you very much. Right. Never want to play with fire at home, right? You can play with fire at a friend's house, but never at your house, okay? Go. Never play with fire, right? He was showing you how pressure can crush a can, but we also need pressure in weather, and it's very important in weather. Has anybody ever watched the weather? And say the H and the L? Who can tell me what the H and the L stand for? Right there. High and low, but high and low what? Pressure. I heard it. Go and yell it out. And when we have low pressure around, typically we are going to see clouds around, we'll have rain, we'll have snow. You see the L on the map? Guys, it's going to be lousy weather, okay? So you see that L on the map, it's going to be lousy. See the H on the map, that means it's high pressure, and that means it's going to be high and dry. We have sinking air, which makes it very difficult for any clouds to occur. So that means the high pressure means it'll be sunshine. The L means that it's going to be lousy weather. It's going to be clouds and rain and snow when you have low pressure around. Now, I am going to be doing the weather tonight, and you will see the weather map. And you'll be watching the weather tonight because you may have noticed back there in that corner over there, maybe you noticed back over there, there's that photographer guy named Photographer John. Hi, Photographer John! And he is going to make sure that you are on the Channel 4 Action News tonight at 5:30. Oh guys, let me tell you one thing. If you're waving at the camera and you're not looking at me, they won't put you on the news. Because it doesn't look like it, you're not paying attention to me, and we can't have that, okay? That would make me look bad, and we will not have that. Okay, now, look this way. John will get you on, okay? Now, we were talking about you watching the news tonight at 5:30 and watching the weathercast, okay? And this map is going to pop up, and there's going to be an L on the screen, which means lousy weather is coming, right? And I want you to turn to your mom and dad when it comes up, before I say a word, and say, you know what that L means? And they'll say, what? And you'll say, it means that lousy weather is coming, and we're going to see some rain. It might even rain for Halloween. And then you know what I'm going to say? I know I can be the bearer of bad news. But then I'm going to say the same thing on TV tonight, and your parents are going to be very impressed, okay? I think I just buried the headline there. All right. So that is pressure. Now, we are moving on to our next topic. And that topic is... tornadoes. Tornadoes will be up in just a minute. Some teams can tell I changed my presentation. I have a story to tell you, and it's not about tornadoes at all. This is a story of the biggest natural disaster that I have ever personally been a part of. Now, this was a Sunday, and it was a completely sunny day. And on Sunday mornings, we used to go, my parents would get me up really early to go to early church because my parents were really mean like that. Instead of going to church at 11 o'clock, I had to go like 6 a.m. in the morning. So we went to the early church, and then after that, we would go to breakfast. And then after that, I would go to work. Now, I was in high school, so I was maybe 17 years old. So what kind of job do you think I had in high school? What do you think?
Burger King.
What do you think?
Newspaper delivery.
What's that, pizza delivery?
Newspaper.
Newspaper. You know, I did have that job at one time, but no. What do you think? Weatherman. Nope. A little young for that. What do you think? What's that? College. Nope. Wasn't in college yet. In the green.
McDonald's.
McDonald's. That is very close. Very close. So I worked at a fast food restaurant, and it was like a Taco Bell. Okay? But my town was too small, it didn't have Taco Bell. So the place I worked at was called Taco Mexico. Okay? So that morning, it's a sunny day, we go to church, I go to breakfast, and then I go to work, and I'm making tacos at Taco Bell because I'm a fast taco maker. You have to be in the fast food business, so I'm making tacos. So, on this day that was completely sunny, at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, all of a sudden from the west, it got darker and darker and darker until on what was a completely sunny day, it went pitch black. What do you think it was?
Darkness.
Thanks. Yep, what do you think? Yep. We can go back. Right there.
Tornado.
Tornado. Good guess, but no. Yep.
Thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm. Good guess, but no. Right there. Yep. Oh, right there. Thank you. Yep. What's that? Did you say eclipse? That is a really, really good guess, but no. Right here. Good guess, but no. I'm going to go 2 more. What do you think? Red and white. A blackout. That's another really good guess, but no. Right there. Oh, can't quite hear. Go ahead. A hurricane. No. I'm going to show you what it was. And you had a little hint because I jumped ahead. What did you guys say over here? What's that? Say it again. Mount St. Helens, which now the teachers know that I knew. That happened back in 1980, okay? This was the biggest landslide and the biggest piece of mountain that has ever been blown out in the history of recorded time that we know of, okay? Now, I live in a small town that was about 200 miles to the east of this volcano. And you see that it erupted. And when it did, when it first erupted, decided that this is the initial point where it erupted. And the whole top of the mountain, now these mountains are 14,000 feet tall. So they're really, really, really tall. So we don't have mountains anywhere close to this. And 1,400 feet at the top of it completely blew off, okay? So this eruption happened, it was much, much shorter. And it blew out to the side. And all of that stuff blew out. And it was a huge explosion. And that explosion had gases and pressure that knocked all the trees around for tens of miles around and knocked them flat, okay? So, as you heard, it also dropped all that acid in the air. Where did it have to go? Back down to the ground, right? So all around that mountain was piled up with ash. And unfortunately, there was warnings that this was going to blow, but there were a few people around it, and a few people did die. Actually, about 58 people died. This is what it looked like. It looked like a moonscape around the mountain. You can see all the dust. It looks kind of like Mars moon, doesn't it? And they had something what's called a pyroclastic flow, which means it's water and it's mud and all that debris comes down the mountain and it washes everything out. And that's what happened to this car. And see this? This was a forest. You kind of see, I want to show this one because that shows where the forest is still standing. All that wind came through. Those trees are 100, 200 feet tall, not normal like toothpicks, okay? And that happened for 10 miles around. The blast of the wind. It was unbelievable when that happened. Now this is the small town I lived in. Remember the story I was telling you? Where it was sunny, and then all of a sudden it went black? This was the middle of the day. It went pitch black. When the ash came over, and then where's that ash go? It has to fall, right, on the ground? But like, you know, it looks like snow, right? Except for snow does what? It melts. What does ash melt? No, it's just dirt on the ground, it stays forever, okay? So what do you do with it? Well, you're kind of stuck with it, actually. You have to sweep it off your porch and your shoes. This is a man who's waiting for the bus. This is what it looked like for a couple days afterwards. And those are the silly clothes we used to wear when I was a kid, okay? And you see the masks they're wearing there? We had to wear those for a couple of weeks so that ash wouldn't get into our throats. And we had to wear it absolutely everywhere except for one place. Where do you think we couldn't wear a mask? straight weeks. Is that right? Guys and girls, all the sports for the summer were canceled, so no baseball left. All right. Now, when we have a volcano, we have a different type of pressure. And with more on pressure, can you please put your hands together for this step?
I'm going to use pressure to show you a really cool volcano. It's going to be a model of a volcano, but not like the one that you may have seen before where it uses baking soda and vinegar. Mine is going to use something I brought with me that's very special. It's something called liquid nitrogen. Now, liquid nitrogen is very, very, very cold. It's about 320 degrees below zero. Yeah, it's so cold that I actually have to wear special cryo gloves to protect my hands because if it touches my hands, I'll get frostbite right away. So, I'll put on my super gloves. Now remember, liquid nitrogen is so cold that at room temperature it'll be boiling. So it's going to look like boiling water, but remember, I'm not heating it at all here other than just let the slow heat to the air. Alright, so maybe a little tough to see back in the back, but you'll see that it is boiling. It looks just like I'm about to make spaghetti. While it boils, it's turning into a gas. It's turning into nitrogen gas. Nitrogen gas takes up hundreds of times more space than liquid nitrogen. So, it's taking up more and more and more space as it's evaporating, as it's boiling. What I'm going to do is pour it into this flask that I brought with me. And you'll be able to see that a little bit better. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see it coming out of my flask, right? That's because it's taking up more and more space, so it has to escape. If I put something covering this on top, it would build up a lot of pressure because it would be taking up more and more space, but it wouldn't have anywhere to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a stopper in it, but that stopper has a pipe going through it, a little pipe. So that means that all that pressurized nitrogen gas will be forced up through the pipe, and we will get, hopefully, a volcanic eruption. We won't get any lava, but we will get a lot of fake ash, a lot of fake smoke. It'll actually be really cold water in the air and it's nitrogen gas. Are you ready? Yeah!